Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make the perfect eclairs. First, you need to heat 160 grams of butter. Add 150 grams of water over the butter. Keep the flame on very low heat. Let the butter melt in the warm water. Add 2 teaspoons of sugar. This is totally optional. You could also mix the milk and water together at the start. It's totally fine. Or you could just use 300 ml of water and skip the milk altogether. Allow the butter to melt completely. At the boiling point, add 160 grams of bread flour. It's okay to use all-purpose flour as well. So when you add the flour, you gotta start mixing it right away. It will soak up all the moisture in no time and turn into a dough. Can you see how thick the mixture has gotten? Keep cooking the dough until you don't see any white uncooked flour. It took me about 2 minutes to get the perfect pastry dough. Once the dough is ready, remove the pan from the heat. And transfer the dough to a clean, wide bowl. Spread the dough on the sides of the bowl so the steam can escape and the dough can cool down a little. Take 5 large eggs. Try to take cold eggs for this. It is recommended to use cold eggs when adding them to the dough, to prevent them from cooking due to the warmth of the dough. Alternatively, you could wait until the dough has completely cooled down before adding the eggs. To begin with, I will be using only 4 eggs. I will check the consistency, and if absolutely necessary, then I will use the 5th egg. Use an electric hand mixer to mix the ingredients. You could also use a whisk, but it is more tiring since we need to mix the eggs into the warm dough quickly so they do not cook. So an electric hand mixer is the best option here. Now I have used all 4 eggs. I'm going to mix it well and check if I got the right consistency. This is definitely not the right consistency. This is too thick and it's not falling into ribbons. So I'm going to just mix it up, and I feel I will be adding my 5th egg to this. Now I think the pastry dough looks perfect. It's not too thick or it's not too runny. You can tell if the dough is right by drawing a line on it. If the line is easy to draw and the dough doesn't stick together, then you got the perfect choux pastry dough. So this is how smooth it should be. Prepare a large piping bag with a big fluted nozzle and fill the piping bag halfway with the choux pastry. At this stage, you may clip the piping bag and store it in the refrigerator for later use. It will remain fresh for a day. Alternatively, you can use the choux pastry immediately to bake éclairs or churros. You heard me right. Yes, you use the same pastry dough to make churros too. I use a silicone mat when I bake eclairs, but you can also use a baking tray with a parchment paper over it. When making eclairs, try to make them all the same length. If you want, you can use a template under the silicone mat to help you. I usually just eyeball it and try to make them all the same size. Start piping from a little bigger than the center and end a little bigger than the center. That way you will get an evenly bloated eclair. Usually the center of the eclair tend to be more bloated. I'm using a pair of scissors to cut the end. You could always just stop and lift the piping bag to end, but I find this easier. Dust some icing sugar on the eclairs. At this point, you can freeze the eclairs now and save them for later. But today I'm gonna bake half of the eclairs and I'll freeze the remaining for later. Bake the eclairs in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius for about 20 minutes. Or until the top is golden brown. You might need to turn on the top heat for the last 5 minutes of baking. Once the eclairs are done, don't take it out of the oven immediately. That will make them deflate. Just turn off the heat, open the oven door a bit and let them cool down slowly. You can take the eclair shells out of the oven in like half an hour after baking. Look at how perfectly the eclair shells have risen and baked. The perfect eclair shell will be crispy on top and hollow inside. So this is how it should look from inside. Check out these frozen eclairs. You can easily pop them off the silicone mat and store them in an airtight container for later. I do this all the time when I make a big batch of choux pastry. It is so handy when I have unexpected guests or even when I'm planning a party at home. I can always make these in advance to save some time. All you have to do is to take it out of the freezer and bake it immediately in a preheated oven. And that's it. Now isn't that easy? Back home, we usually fill eclairs with chocolate buttercream. I know it's too heavy and sweet, but that's how it works over there. Traditionally though, eclair shells are filled with pastry cream or chantilly cream. You can use a star nozzle or a nozzle specifically made for filling cream puffs to fill the eclairs. You can either poke a hole at the two ends of the eclair to fill the cream, or you can poke a hole in the bottom of the eclair to fill it. It's up to you. Stuff the eclair shell until it's full. You will know it's full when it's heavy. Pop the eclairs in the freezer for half an hour to chill. That way, when you coat them in chocolate, it will stick without dripping all over the sides. So I've got some melted dark compound chocolate here to coat the top of the eclairs. You can use milk chocolate or any other flavored chocolate as you like. Dip the top of the eclair in the chocolate and stand it upright to set. It will set right away since the eclairs are cold. check out these yummy eclairs I made today. I hope you liked my video tutorial. Until next time, happy baking everyone!